Why should you follow up with people, and why does everybody overlook the importance of follow-ups? To become a successful freelancer or anybody in sales, follow-ups is the key, but it's also the one thing that nobody wants to do. I'm going to take you through in just a second quite a few statistics that play a very large role on the success or failure of your freelancing or sales endeavor. So it doesn't matter if you're selling courses or if you're a freelancer, like what I did the vast majority of the beginning of my career to get all of my closes. Now, what you need to really think about is it's okay if somebody does not close in the first interaction with you. The vast majority of people don't. And when I teach people how to use freelancing to get jobs, like through sites like Upwork, it's the same thing that I do. I never try to close people on the first call. What I do is I spend max 15 minutes talking to them, and I schedule a follow-up call because I want them to really resonate on what I sat through and spoke to them on the first call. Then number one, I don't have all the details to close them on that first call. I like to just gather details and say, hey, I'm going to come back to you on the second call and present what I know. And then if I don't close them on that one, I schedule another one and I keep things going. Usually by the third or fourth call, you will have somebody closed. But the reality is I would consider myself an amazing salesperson, and I'm not closing people consistently on my first calls. So number one, why do people not follow up? It's just because they don't understand the importance of a follow-up, and it seems unnecessary by most people. If someone doesn't close on the first call because they tried to close them on that first call, they feel like all hope is lost. The problem is they don't have a good sales structure to follow. So the first thing I want to do is actually take you through some sales stats so that we're actually showing out. So we're going to switch over to my laptop here. Sales follow-up statistics. So we're going to come down here. The data shows that most sales pros give up too soon. These sales statistics below on the following show up 20% of all sales reps on 80% of sales. So pretty much they're saying 20% of all sales reps deliver 80% of all the sales. Okay, so the first big stat that you really need to consider is this: don't give up. 50% of all sales happen after the fifth contact, but most sales reps give up after just two. And I said I usually do two, but I could take upwards of 3 to 4 usually. 92% of sales pros give up after the fourth call, but 80% of prospects say no more than 4 calls before they say yes. So pretty much prospects are saying, I need 4 calls to really decide whether I want to work with somebody. So if we want to think about this, these are just the 2 stats I want to cover today because I really want to just cover the basics here. These people are making really big decisions on whatever you're working with, especially as a freelancer. The higher up services you're offering, it's going to require more sales, and especially depending on competition. So I recently closed a 2K deal, which I'll make a video about pretty much that entire process here in a little bit. It took me 4 days, and I closed a $2,000 deal, and it took maybe 3 hours of time. Amazing return on investment for time. So the way that worked is I scheduled the call initially. I had the first call with them. I had the second call, and I made sure to position this in a way to where it worked well for him. He had to take the time to speak to all the other freelancers, right? And I want him to have those options. I respect him for wanting to see what's best for him. So the same thing applies. A lot of the times, if you're dealing with an actual business, they need to look around and they need to get permission from up the chain. They can't just make a decision that day. Most people can't. So it comes back to the old adage of, are you speaking to the decision maker? And on top of that, what budget do they have to work with? There's a lot of variables here. So coming back to the core question, how important is the follow-up and why do most people not do it? The follow-up is everything. And if you aren't doing follow-ups consistently with people and scheduling and creating a follow-up system, you're lost in the system and you're going to be losing a lot of money.